We are TheGreenWay, and we're gonna interview Diego Garza, an ex-cidebian.
Hi, we are the Green Way, and we are here with Diego Garza. Hi, Diego. How are you doing today?
Hi everyone, I'm doing great. What about you?
Great.
Good to hear that.
Fine. Can you tell us how old are you?
Sure. I just turned out 28 years old yesterday, actually.
Oh, happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, talking about your professional life, can you tell us in what company do you work like now?
Yes, I'm currently working at Microsoft.
Well, in Microsoft, tell us about a little of what you do in your work, like your role and your day-to-day, like.
Sure. Right now, I'm a senior software engineer lead. So I have people reporting directly to me. I work together trying to solve some of the interesting challenge in the operating system space. So specifically, we work in Windows division. We work with technologies, which is the Windows hardware error architecture interface. We also have the microcode deployment interface where you're trying to identify, prevent, and mitigate hardware errors happening on the machines. So our goal is to prevent you from seeing the sad face blue screen of death, basically. In my day-to-day, well, it definitely varies on which kind of projects are we tackling, which teams are we collaborating with, but it is a lot of team collaboration, talking with my team, with the people, with my reports, trying to see what are the goals for the coming weeks, see which are the hottest topics that we need to solve or the hottest bugs that we need to solve. Talk a lot with internal teams to do cross collaboration, seek for areas of opportunity, how we can improve and innovate, and talk with some of our partners and vendors and as external companies to figure out what are their biggest pain points, how can we help them, and yeah, I mean try to prevent and keep a more reliable ecosystem, especially in Azure.
Okay, thank you, Leo. Well, traveling a little to the past, in your high school time, like when you were a high schooler, a high schooler like us, what was your motivation to be part of the robotic teams at CDEP?
That's a good question. There were multiple. One, I got curious about it. I saw robotics and I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I might give it a shot. Why not? Two, a semester before joining the robotics team, I tried creating my own programming team or programming club. So we worked together for like a year. We learned about coding and we went to a coding competition. And after that, I said, hey, you know what? I like this, but it was everything in my computer, everything virtual. I would like to give it a shot to actually see what I'm building. Like if I'm compiling the code 20 times in the PC, it's always going to behave the same way. Or that's what I thought at that time. But in a robot, everything changes. Maybe you have the same code, you try it in the robot, and it's always doing different things. So that's what got me really invested into it. And the other thing is that I saw in the StuDev, I was part of the progressive students, the progressive class, advanced progressive class, and I was impressed. Like since I joined that class, when the teachers had questions, almost everyone raised their hand, and I came from to answer it. And I came from a background where if a teacher had a question, there was only a few people that were trying to answer it. So I came to this new competitive environment where people were trying to excel, and everyone knew way more than I did in different areas, and everyone was trying to be better. So I got inspired by that, and that was one other of the motivations that I said, you know what, I should do the same. I should take another activity, and robotics seems like appropriate. And the last reason is because I didn't know fully what I wanted to study in my bachelor's degree at college. So I robotics was one of the bachelors that I was considering. So I said, well, if I'm able to take robotics classes in high school, that might be a good segue to determine if this is actually something that I like, I want to try, or never mind, let's look for something else.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Can you share with us like some achievements during your time at high school that lead you to studying your career in tech? Like we know that it is difficult, like having entering tech because of the competitive. Well,
No, thank you, Juan Pablo. It's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, some of the achievements, I think I will highlight three big projects that I did during high school that definitely helped me get into, well, actually four projects. One is not that tech related, but four projects that helped me through my career, or get into the tech business. Project number one, as I already said, I got curious about programming when I was joining the high school. And when I saw everyone doing so many different activities, I also felt inspired. And I was able to take an online course about programming. So I signed up for two online courses where I took this like quote unquote online classes that you did it at your own rhythm. You needed to just upload like additional homework once a week, but you saw pre-recorded sessions. So that helped me to get some certifications in web development that start getting my interest in programming. And I think programming is something that I recommend for everyone, regardless if they want to study tech, because it helps you with your mindset, try to have a more structured mindset and way of thinking and problem solving that helped me through my not only high school and career, but also get interested in the area. Second project, it was about the programming club that I already told you. So I got into that one and said, hey, you know what? It seems cool. Let's give it a shot. There's nothing like this in the CDEP at the moment. Let's talk with other people, get their interest, and just start it. So I remember going with Coco at that time, the principal, and say, hey, I have this crazy idea. Do you agree? Yes, cool. Let's go for it. And just like that, let's start the project going. And that helped me to get more confidence in competitions. And I remember, I mean, I can get as deep as you guys want, but one of the competitions that we went for the programming club. It's I remember one of the teachers from Tech of Monterrey. They say like, you know what, you guys shouldn't be here. You're from high school. You don't know anything about this. It's not as easy as it seems. This is a waste of time. You're not gonna be able to achieve anything. And hey, I mean, we ended up in the top 10, so wasn't that bad. And I say like, in your face. And later on, fun fact, I met that teacher while I was studying my career. But anyway, it was like an inspiration to say, hey, not because we're young, it means that, and we don't have maybe the technical background from the degree, means that we're not able to achieve our goals. And I was like, no, we can do it. Let's learn from our end. Let's get interested in these classes by ourselves. The third project, of course, robotics, it was a way of applying the knowledge, seeing my code and development in action, which was really, really useful and inspiring to see something that actually works, that is actually behaving. I met a lot of folks that actually continue inspiring me through my career and contributing to my career in many ways. And last but not least, it was a project that I started for trying to get free Office 365 for the high school. So at the time, I don't know, you guys are super young, so maybe you guys don't remember, but in the old days, you used to pay for one-time Office package. You say, hey, I want to have the latest Excel. You pay one time, and you get the subscription. And if I mean, not the subscription, you get the software. And if you wanted the new version of Excel, you need to pay again. Otherwise, you can keep using the old Excel anytime you want. Then Office 365 came with this idea of, hey, what if we switch to a subscription model where you just pay the subscription and you're always going to guarantee to have the latest version. And I didn't want to pay at that time. I didn't have that much money. My family didn't have that much money. So I was like, hey, how can I get this as free as possible? Can I try to do some shady things to get it? And I saw in their website that if you were part of an educational institution, you were able to get this for free. And it's one of those projects that I started like, hey, what's the worst things that can happen? Maybe getting a no for an answer. And I went with Principal Coco and say, hey, I have this idea. Can I follow it up? I just want to have Office 365 for free. And yeah, I mean, it took like a semester. It got me engaged with some Microsoft connections that they helped me to set everything up from our end in the high school to be able to offer that for free for everyone. And that project ended up later on expanding not only to CDEP, but to all UIA ecosystem, which was really, really dope. And I mean, and also I added that to my resume, even though I didn't do any coding, any programming or tech related stuff. I just wanted Office 365 for free. I was involved in some conversations, but having that in my resume when I applied to Microsoft, they said, "Oh, this guy has Office 365 experience. Cool, get him in." So that helped.
Well, it seems like you have a lot of, well, you had a lot of very experiences in your high school time, but can you share with us, like, well, what were some changes that you experienced between your high school and your major robotics?
Changes. Well, the way you work, I think something that I hear a lot when I was in high school is like from teachers getting this pressure saying like, "Oh, trust me, if you're suffering with this right now, once you get to the university, university teachers are worse. They are not gonna let you do these kind of things." And that wasn't true for me. At least when I started going to the, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but when I started going through my first years in college, they were easier than my CDEP experience, which was amazing. That means that CDEP actually prepared me a lot to collaborate and tackle high problems. The biggest change is start to specializing in something that you like. When you're in high school, yes, you're going through what? Like I remember the worst semester that I had was like 13 different classes at one semester. I don't know if the numbers are roughly the same right now. So it's super broad, your scope. And once you determine a bachelor's that you like, you're having like 6 classes per semester. So you're able to really focus on the areas that you like. And that's really good because you're able to explore more areas and focus more on the kind of things that you want to achieve. Also, when you're in college, you're able to make big decisions and you can see impact directly. Like, for example, if you're interested in investigation in academia, you're able to get related with professors that are involved in those areas and they start writing a paper. Let's start making some investigation. Do you think something it might be possible? We have the budget to try it out. And those kind of things are super, super cool that you can definitely leverage from college.
Okay, so I have a question. Is when while you were in tech, what did you to create Roborregos?
That's a really great question. One of the inspiration was my time at CDEP Robotics Club, right? So if I was in CDEP Robotics team for a year. I was able to see the impact of participating in a robotics tournament. I was able to see the benefits of applying your knowledge in an actual project. It's trust me, it's super different if you're just taking a class to learn something versus looking at online course where somebody is teaching something, and also it's different from the experience of saying I need to learn a concept and apply it to a project or product that actually needs to do something or it's going to be evaluated to see that it actually works. Because sometimes maybe you get in a situation where you see something online, learn about it, and say, "Cool, I know about this project." But if you never get your hands dirty and actually start implementing it and see that it actually works and encounter real issues, real situations, where you need to say, okay, what's going on? Let's figure out what's wrong and fix it. It's a huge difference. So that basically when I got to Tech of Monterrey, similar situation. I got there. There wasn't anything related at all, nothing similar to the experience that I got at CDEF. I went to talk with some professors. They all said, hey, we have a huge problem. The young folks have all the energy and time to do these kind of projects, but they suck. They don't know anything about the area or the space, so their projects are really, really bad, so they don't have the experience. And the people that are in the last semesters, they have all the experience and knowledge to do these kind of projects, but they are super busy and trying to graduate on time, that they don't have time to work on these projects. So we needed to demonstrate that young folks were able to spend the time and resources in projects that they were really interested and excited about. And that's how RoboRegos started. It was an initiative to demonstrate, hey, these robotics competition are amazing learning experiences and amazing opportunities to keep innovating and developing our area. It is ridiculous that the college has an entire major in robotics and we don't support in any way robotics competitions, which just improves the quality of the students and the experiences that the students are having hands-on with robotics. So that's one of the main motivations that I had over that. We went through a lot of different hoops in order to make that happen. But at the end, I will say it paid dividends. RoboRegos just is celebrating their 10-year anniversary. So even though I after graduated, it continued to develop and they continue to participate every single year in different competitions. There's multiple papers written and published by RoboRegos at this point. So there's definitely a lot of joy in that.
Okay. And also, we would like to know, like, what was the most rewarding aspect or an achievement, like when you build RoboRegos from the ground up?
I will say seeing how people is able to help each other to get better. Like something that really distinguished RoboRegos from other robotics teams or other extracurricular activities was the fact that everyone was spending their time not only to improve and get better, but to help others get better. And when we went to the first international competition with RoboRegos in 2015, we saw that the main difference between a top one team, which was Germany at the time. So we saw the top three: Germany, China, Ukraine, and if we saw their robots, they were amazing. But when we analyzed their people and their knowledge, we were super similar. We had the same access to very similar tools. We had access to the very similar knowledge, very similar background. The main difference was that they had a strong support system where people from previous generations keep sharing their knowledge and experiences with new students. And that made them the ramp up time go super smoothly, super fast. So the new people, the new generation were able to help each other and start developing and innovating in new areas. Well, if we look at Mexico students, Mexico were like, I did great. I want to be recognized with this great achievement that I had. So I won't help the next generation because they can beat my record. And I don't want this to seem like, oh, they were able to beat me. I want to be there like I was the one that was able to achieve the best in this competition. So changing that mindset with RoboRegos and say, hey, you know what? You don't know me, I don't know you, but I will spend my time teaching you everything that I know and my time getting sponsorships so you can go to the competitions without any effort just because I want you to get better. That created an amazing support system with every like maybe we were crazy the first people that started it, but they all people following along because they experienced those benefits and they saw the cool things they were able to achieve thanks to that without you needing to enforce it and say, hey, now you need to go and do the same. By themselves, they were like, you know what? I will help the next generation. I will teach the next generation what I learn, and I will try to get sponsorships for them. And I think that mindset helped a lot shift things how we think about the different problems that we have in our society. And I can see it today. Like I came to Microsoft. I was the first one in RoboRegos to get an internship at Microsoft. I keep pulling my people to get exposed to these kind of opportunities. And now we have over 30 ex-RoboRegos that graduated and got a full-time offer either at Microsoft, Google, or Meta in Seattle. So I will say that most of my friends that I met at college, they're still being my friends here in Seattle because we're all still developing cool projects all together.
Okay. So you're really, really known about by your robotic skills, but we want to know how you felt in your social environment, like in CDEP, in tech, in your work. So please tell us something about that.
About the social environment, anything in particular about the social environment, or just in general?
No, like your friends, how you felt, like something like that.
Sure. I mean, I feel great. I mean, definitely, it really depends who you relate with and who is your circle of friends and your circle of support. That's going to make the big difference how you're perceived and how you're able to get encouraged to keep going. Because trust me, doing these kind of activities is time it's exhausting. You will be spending a lot of days, mornings, nights working towards your goal, and that's exhausting. And if you have a support system or people around you, your friends are like, "Oh, Diego, you're wasting your time. This is stupid. Why you're doing this instead of going to this other thing, or why are you doing this instead of enjoying life?" Right? I had an old friend from junior high that I remember he saying like, "Dude, you spent so much time studying that it was stupid. Like we our friendship got apart. Uh, I would love if you keep going with me to the gym and do this crazy activities with me instead of you focusing so much on studying." And I remember telling him like, "Dude, that sounds great, but thank you that I was able to focus on this. I was able to achieve my goals." So if you surround yourself with people that are also having similar goals, it's really great. So I will say that I was fortunate that my friends in high school, we are still getting in touch, even though we graduated over 10 years ago, almost 15 years ago, we graduated from CDEP. We're still in touch. We keep hanging out every couple months. For me, that I'm in Seattle, I see them like twice a year. We talk over WhatsApp every so often. But being able to have that support people that also have big aspirations and big goals in life helps you to feel like you're not the odd one, right? You're like, okay, I'm with the right people. If I'm seeing them achieve this, I can also achieve this thing, even if we're in different areas. Maybe I'm in tech. Some of them were in the med school. Some of them were in the what's called the business school. So we went through different paths, but at the same time, it was like if you see everyone doing great in their field, it inspires you, and that helped. That seemed like an inspiration. If I see someone working hard towards their goal, it inspired me to continue and try to do better in working towards my goal.
Well, I think that is very interesting. And many of the things that you have said about robotics, like I can really relate to that, like personally. And I truly believe that being part of tech and roborregos is a goal for many like robo kids, robotics kids like me. And I want to know, or actually we want to know, how did being part of a robotics team at CDEV, like if it has helped you to change your mindset, or like if it helps you, I don't.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm sorry. In the teamwork part, or in finding solutions in complex like fields in your major.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the comment and also the question. So yes, the answer is yes in both areas. So from one end, as I was briefly saying at the beginning, being able to get involved in STEM activities helps you with the way you problem solve, right? So if you have my experience working in the robotics team helped me to overcome problems because I was tackling them with a different mindset. So now instead of just saying that, oh, I have this situation, I don't know what to do about it, it helped me to develop this strategy of, okay, I have this problem. What do I need to achieve this goal? Oh, this. What do I need for this one? Okay, this. Oh, but this one will have this dependency. Okay, if it will have this dependency, what things I need to solve beforehand, and so on. So it helps you to have a more structured mindset. So by the time when you're problem solving, one of the biggest issues that people do is like, oh, I have a problem, right away wants to come up with a solution. And someone that gets super involved with this tech environment, we all know that no, the first thing is let's stop for a second, think of the big picture, and later, once we understand the big picture, we can start thinking about how to solve a problem. If you don't understand the problem, you cannot solve a problem. And many people, when they see a problem, right away they want to try to come up with a solution. And I think that applies to any field that you go, regardless if you continue in the robotics path or some other path. So I think that's something that stick with me and definitely helped me a lot. Um, Surprisingly, in the not super tech related skills that I developed was to be, and I quote Professor Eric. He said being political correct. That's a skill that I hated when he taught me that one, and that now I'm super grateful because I was like, dude, why we're spending so much money on these pieces, and why are we dealing with this bureaucracy of getting these pieces from this other process in CDEV? It's easier if we just get the money and spend it outside and buy the pieces from this other provider and things like that. And he taught me how, like, no, I mean, sometimes making people connections is as strong as the technology that we're learning, because it's really important to understand where you are developing, who you're collaborating with. And I hated it because I was like, dude, I just want to have the things ready so we can focus on the technology. But as I struggle with RoboReg to find resources and find the sponsorship, and now in my professional life, being able to get the support from different teams and getting the resources to develop some of our ideas, that was a key piece that I also learned. That is, okay, sometimes we need to play a little bit of politics. So you can say, okay, fine, I will push in this ask, but I will pull in this other one so we can both achieve what we want. And that's something that I learned through robotics at high school. So that was really, really good.
Wow, that's amazing actually. Um, you just said that you weren't like sure about the career you wanted before like getting to know, and that's I think that I think it's a really good like thing for us to do, like trying new things before knowing like I want to get into med school without knowing anything about what are you going to do. But what was a decisive moment that you said like, wow, this is what I really want to do for life?
I don't think I will have a really good answer to that one because the way I decided my major, I was between three different majors. I was mechatronics, computer science, and robotics. I was able to narrow this down because I said when I was in high school, I tried the different online courses for programming, the robotics course, and I went through different career fairs. Some of universities offered career fairs once a year or twice a year as a way for you to explore different careers and learn more about what they are for. I went to multiple of those fairs, learn more about them, the offerings, and I was able to narrow it down to those three. And I thought I was going to study computer science, and I applied to a scholarship. And in the application, it was like a huge application, like I don't remember how many pages long, like 100 pages long. And I remember that the only thing that I left out was when you specify which major I was applying for the scholarship. And I told my mom when I got in there with my mom, I was gonna deliver all the documentation. And I remember I told my mom, you know what, I'm gonna apply to computer science. Got out of the car, got into the place where I was gonna deliver the documents, opened it up, and when the time I was gonna select the major, I selected robotics and delivered all the documents and applied to robotics. So it was a little bit, I know, maybe not the perfect answer to say, hey, leave everything until last minute. But I will say it's good to narrow it down. I mean, if your options are med school or tech, definitely it's super broad spectrum, and definitely I recommend talking with advisors and different directors from the field. Talk with people that are already studying those fields. If you can talk with graduates, so you can learn more about what they are doing, what they are working on, how was their experience, so you can close it out and see if you actually like those fields. But when it's super close together, like, hey, robotics, mechatronics, and computer science, I will say it's fine. At the end of the day, a bachelor's is just the base, some base knowledge, so you can know some skills and develop some skills that can get applied to the work environment. I know friends that they study mechatronics and they are also landed at Microsoft. I have most of my friends are computer science. I did robotics, and we all landed at Microsoft. So it's like there's room for everyone, and it's good if you can later on change majors or take some classes from a different major, and it's all fine. Um, but getting involved in activities and talking with people that are related to those activities, I think, is one of the big things that help you clear your mind. Because at the end of the day, I think choosing your major is an important decision, but I don't want you to feel like it's like end of the world decision. At the end of the day, once you graduate, you still have like 40, 45 years to work in that field after graduation. So if it takes you 2, 3 more years to graduate and getting something that you actually like, or you start working in a field and after 5 years you decide this is not what I want to do, it's fine. You still have 35 years to go, right? So no problem.
Well, thank you. That's a really good advice. We already know that your skills is what lead you to be on where you're working right now on Microsoft. But I mean, more specifically, what was your process to land in that position? Like, what attracted you to this opportunity to work in Microsoft?
That's a really good question. Um, I will say my first time I landed on Microsoft was a little bit by accident. So again, making strong connections I think is really important. Not a lot of people in the field. One of the people that I met randomly in college, he reached out to me and say, "Hey, I know that you're doing this work with Roboregos. Do you want to apply for a Microsoft internship?" And I said, "I don't even know what the Microsoft internship is. Like, I don't know what an internship is." And I learned about it. He helped me to create my resume, and I said, "Hey, you know what? Why not? I mean, if it's to work over the summer and they are gonna pay me to fly to Seattle, and I'm gonna get paid for working for Microsoft, sure. I don't even know what it's gonna take, but sure, sign me up." And that's how I started the process to apply for Microsoft. So for me, I didn't think through like, oh, Microsoft, I want to apply right now in this field now. After getting to Microsoft for my first internship, that's where I started building my career. One of my first goals was to create my own company. And the reason that I wanted to start my own company is because I saw a lot of deficiencies in the work environment that I wanted to fill. I said, like, this is stupid. I don't want to work 40, 50 hours a week in an environment with all these problems. I want to create an environment where you're able to have this work-life balance, where you can talk through your career, see what are the different stages that you want to achieve on, be able to innovate without feeling bad about it, where people are more human instead of a robot, etc. Right? And when I joined Microsoft, I saw that all of the things that I wanted to fill or to complete by creating a company, they were already achieved at Microsoft. So that was one of the things that inspired me to say, hey, well, let me take a look at this and see if I can build my career at Microsoft. I've been working closely with my manager and with mentors in order to achieve the position that I'm currently at. I actually last week I got promoted to the lead position. So I was a senior software engineer, and last week I got the promotion to be a lead, which is exciting. I'm super nervous because I'm one of the youngest leads in the area, but it's fun. And you only achieve those kind of things having constant communication with people in your area and seeking for outside counsel. So I went with people that say, "Hey, I'm already a lead. Do you need help?" And I say, "Yes, please. What can I do to achieve my goal of becoming a lead?" So having, I think it's understanding that you're never done learning in your career, in your life. Actually, it's a key piece if you want to keep improving and keep achieving your goals. So not because I was done with high school or with college, that meant like, okay, I know everything. It's time to just work. I think in your field, you need to keep updating yourself, keep learning about things, keep developing skills that maybe are not technical. Like if you want to become a lead, you need to learn how to treat with people and how to help them develop their career and be able to identify areas of opportunity and create new projects. And those are skills that aren't taught in any college, right, or high school. There are some skills that maybe you need to learn from people already working in those spaces. And if you have that philosophy of, okay, let me keep learning and keep an open mindset that there's many things that I don't know that I still can learn from others, is what helps you get into those kind of positions.
Well, it's pretty good to hear that you have a very natural growth in your working environment. And talking about goals, in your opinion, how important is for us, like as high schoolers, to follow or pursue our passions outside academics, like our personal growth and career development?
That's a really good question, and I think it's super important to follow your passions, regardless if they are related to what you're studying or what you want to study in a career or develop in a career. I think, well, I have two quote unquote answers: the personal answer and the professional answer. So the personal answer is life is too short to don't enjoy it. So if you have a passion, even if it's hard to complete, if it's hard to follow, maybe expensive, maybe it's gonna take some time out of some other activities that you're doing, I will say take it. It's worth it. Like the worst thing that can happen, and I know that it sounds a little bit cheesy, but the worst thing that can happen is to look back and say, hey, why I let down the Diego from 5 years ago and I didn't try this. Maybe it was gonna be the worst idea ever. Maybe if I try it and I will suck on this and it's gonna be bad. And okay, fine, but at least I gave it a shot. That's a key piece. At least I tried. If you try it, you learn something new, and you will be able to learn that you're bad at it. You're going to be able to learn that maybe it's something that you're bad but gives you joy, so you can do it as a hobby and say, you know what, I'm really passionate about doing this thing. I'm really bad about it, but I enjoy my time doing it. So what? Do it. I mean, not everything that you do needs to be the best thing in the field. Not everything needs to give you money. Just go and enjoy it. I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds super cheesy, but the older you get, the further the time flies away. If I remember when I was in high school, it was like, oh, it's okay, it's end of the semester, cool. It took a while. Now I'm like, oh crap, it's been already a year since my last birthday. How many things I achieved this last year? And if we're talking about passions, and once you start in your adult life, you're like, oh, I have to do laundry, cook, I need to sort this, pay my bills, I need to see all these things in finance, I need to work, I need to do some exercise. So you start doing all your things that you need to start saying, like, I also need to leave some time around to work in my passions, to so I can enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, we need to enjoy life. And professional wise, I will say when we're interviewing someone for a position, when you have some candidates that are very close together, especially early in career, someone that is still studying or someone that just graduated, if you have two similar candidates, but you see someone that is passionate about something and is working in an extracurricular activity, even that's not related to the field, that tells us a lot about that person. So I heard people that they had similar software experience as other people, but they were in their swimming team, professional swimming team in the high, well, not professional, but the college swimming team. Cool. Why is that a plus? Because that just being able to see that person participating in swimming competitions is telling me a lot about that person. It's telling me that that person is able to manage their time. It's that person that is responsible, that is working towards achieving goals, is passionate about something, that is able to sacrifice things in order to achieve their goals. So I'm learning learning a lot about a person when they are working in their passions outside school, even if it's not related to, oh, their passion needs to be robotics if they want to work in robotics. No, I mean, if it matches, that's awesome. But if you're working in something else that is your passion, that that helps a lot to understand better who that person is and what they are capable of achieving. Because trust me, it's really easy for someone to say, not today. I really want to work in that project, but not today because I'm tired, but not today because I have homework, but not today because I need to deal with this other thing. Everyone has things to do. And if you don't build time, you don't let time aside for your own passions and things, nobody else is going to do so.
Okay. Well, we love to hear how about you manage your life to keep a healthy balance between your work and your personal life. Like we know that you have a very demand and busy job, so it's not always easy. And how you make sure you're staying productive and also having like your personal interest in contact.
Sure, that's a really great question. So I will say that you need to define priorities, right? So I have my personal life priorities. For me, I'm right now in this interview, but if right now my mom calls me and says that it's an emergency, I will say sorry for that. I will cancel this. I'm sorry, but my family is my priority. Same at work. I will definitely try my best at work, but if there's an family emergency, I will stop whatever I'm doing and I will go and handle that. Why? Because I understand what's important to me, and at the same time I'm able to know how to deliver what I want to achieve in my personal life. And I don't want to be in a life where I'm making millions of dollars and being super successful in the eyes of a lot of people, building a tech empire or having a super job or anything, if that entails leaving my family behind, leaving my friends behind, and only work. That's something that I'm not seeking for. And I think recognizing what are your priorities and how you're going to manage it helps a lot to do your work life balance. Once I'm able to define that, I'm able to say, okay, how can I achieve what I want? And sometimes the way it works for me, where I like to make it work, is focus on objectives. So when I'm working at work, I don't care if I'm working 8 hours today or 10 hours today or 3 hours today. As long as I'm able to fulfill my goals that I'm setting for myself, or that I'm able to communicate with my managers, and that we're all agreeing that is what we need to do. So, I mean, there might be emergencies. Cool. I mean, work emergencies. Yes, if something went down. A lot of customers are having this issue. I mean, some of you saw the problem last year where Microsoft screws. There was an issue with Windows, and people weren't able to fly over because Windows was down, and they weren't able to connect to the flight systems. Right. That's an emergency. Okay, a work emergency. Cool. I will jump into that one and maybe work late today. But once you do that, it's okay. Now, how can I compensate that time that I lost? Let's work in the and work objectives. How can we fix this so it doesn't happen in the future? And at the same time, let's compensate. Okay, cool. I worked 10 hours, 12 hours today. Tomorrow, I will work less hours. Hey, I want to take Friday off because I want to do this. I want to go snowboarding to the mountains. Cool. I might be able to, or take vacation time. But if I don't want to take vacation time and fulfill my objectives of the month, I will stay longer from Monday to Thursday. I will work a couple hours, extra hours every day. So that way I can don't work on Fridays and still achieve the same level of things that I want. So I think as long as you're able, I mean, I know that not all jobs are that flexible. I can tell to my boss, I will do this, not work on Fridays, and they are okay with that. I know that some jobs they will say, I don't care, you need to show up here from 9 to 5, and that's it. So I'm super grateful to be in a position where I can take those decisions. But I think a phrase that my mom told me when I was young and really stuck with me is, you work to live. You don't live to work. And I think that's super important because you are working to make money, and that way you can enjoy your life. If you are able to work in something that you enjoy, like I'm super passionate about my area and I love what I do at work, that's better because maybe it doesn't feel like a burden, or not every day feels like a burden for some other people suffer when they need to go to work. But at the end of the day, is that reminder of, okay, the reason why I'm working is not because of the things that I'm creating, is because I want to have the financial means of living my life. And that might even be creating technology, and that's something I want to do, and that's cool. But you want to have that flexibility of saying, I want to spend time with my family, I want to work in this thing, I want to have these hobbies. So that's something that I am always aiming for. Anybody else?
Um, that model, like, it's really, it is motivated for me. And since you talked to since you talk about your family, is there any particular person who has had a significant influence on all your journey? Someone you'd like to thank for helping shape who you are today? And that's it.
Great. Yeah, no, definitely my parents. I mean, both my dad and my mom. I will say the synergy between them has helped me to shape everything that I am today. Like, not only my values and aspirations, but also how to tackle some life problems. I always describe myself as a dreamer, someone that always likes to dream and say like, what if, what if, what if. My mom was always there, like this supporter person to say like, don't stop dreaming, you can achieve your goals. My dad was also always there with a more realistic view. Like I always had the analogy like my mom let me fly, but my dad always tried to be under it to catch me if I fail. I mean, if I fall, because at the end of the day, my dad always brings up this realistic overview of saying like, that's cool that you want to do all that. How are you going to live if you start doing that? How are you going to manage this thing? You only have 24 hours a day and you actually need to sleep and eat. Remember that, right? So I think having that balance from both of them helped me a lot to become the person that I am today. And I'm super grateful for both of them. And yeah, I'm super grateful.
Thanks.
So, as you said, all this experience that you share with us and skills and persons made you who you are like right now. And I guess it was not easy, but if you suddenly got the ability to go back in time and got the opportunity to tell something to your high school self, what it will be.
Nice. I will say, keep going, keep dreaming, and keep going. It's gonna be worth it at the end because there were a lot of times where it was tough. It was a lot of work. I even remember myself sometimes in high school going through all the different things that we needed to deliver at CDF that I was crying at night saying like I don't even know if I will be able to manage it. Um, but I will tell to myself it's hard, but trust me, it's worth it. You will get there. Keep pushing hard on your goals. Keep pushing hard in your ideas, and you will see the payoff later on. So that will be my best comment from Diego to Diego.
Well, talking about like the same back to time thing, we know that technology nowadays is like a big thing. And the question is, how do you see the future of robotics evolving, and what is your role in that evolution?
Good question. I think I can start with my role, and then I can shape the future. So I always continue to give back to the community, or I'm trying to give back to the community as I go. Just because I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've been having all over all these years. So I'm still part of the robotics community. I am the chair of the International RoboCup Junior Rescue League. So I'm shaping right now, defining the rules and organizing the international competition from RoboCup in those three different leagues. And what I see, one of the biggest challenges is the students actually. The students right now are so used to technology, but not in a way that they understand the technology they are using, but using it as a tool that educators and people in the industry were having this big issue on how to teach people, mainly students, what are tools that they are using, what's happening behind the tools they are using. We are afraid that we might end up in a situation where, for example, AI is big right now and it's huge, and I'm all up for it. Like I think we should be using AI. Like we're building this amazing tool to help us, but it's important to understand how AI works and how to leverage it as a tool and not as a replacement of our thought process. Because otherwise, you are going to be limited to build things that only the AI knows how to build, and you won't be able to shape the future and innovations of robotics or any other tech related field. And in the robotics in particular case, I see that we're tackling super great projects and problems in the industry where more and more investment is coming in this space. I mean, we have these super cool all-purpose robots that Atlas is working on, like Boston Dynamics is working on. We have companies like Tesla that is investing in robotics. We have a lot of different areas of opportunity where robots are helping out in our space. But I think it's a really exciting time to get involved in this area, and I think that's a challenge. How to make the balance so we understand. We always need to make sure we understand the technology we're putting in the robots and not the robots understanding ourselves, if we want to say it that weird way.
That's like really good to hear. We want to know, like, I want to guess that being a lot of time in competitions in robotics, you haven't always win. Like there is always a first time in robotics that you have to lose to learn. And I know at Robocop it's like a really good environment and you always sharing like your experiences with others and you have to be like get friends with someone that is going to lose with you or like win to you and like how to not get disappointed in that time or what would be like a motto for like yes I lose but I want to continue with this like this is not the end of the world.
That's a good one. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Like when I went in high school to the robotics competition, we ended up in last place with 0 points. We did nothing. Like we worked super hard for months developing this robot with this amazing Arduino technology that we were learning about. We traveled 2 days by bus to the competition. We show up there and we sucked. We did nothing. Our robot tried to move and did 0 points. Not even 1 point. Not even five. Zero. We were the bottom of the of everything. And yeah, I mean, at that point you have two options. You say, hey, you know what? It sucked. It's the worst thing ever. I will move on from this and forget that I even tried it because I did really bad. Or you learn from the experience and say, okay, you know what? I learned how not to do this. And now that I know how not to do this, let's figure out a way that might actually work. And that's how we went from 1 year having last place 0 points to next year being first place in the national competition and going to the internationals. It's a difficult mindset to have, but I think it's really important to always learn from something. There are things that we can change, right? And if you're in a situation where, hey, you know what? You already failed this exam. You already failed this robotics competition. You already failed in these things that happen. Well, it sucks. But let's learn about it. What can we do so we prevent this from happening in the future? And I think having that mindset of what can we learn and what can we change helps a lot to improve from these experiences instead of taking them as, oh, I got defeated, so never mind. Thank you.
We want to thank you like really for all your time and all like the experiences you have shared with us. Like I think you left something in each and every single of us. Like we learned a lot. So thank you so much and we really hope that we can see you in the future and we can all learn a little about you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for the interview. It was really great. And I was happy to talk with every one of you. So thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
Thank you.